Hi and welcome to Angling For You. Today you join me at the fantastic Messingham Sands and we're on Swan Pond, Peg 48, and today I'm just fishing with a Dura Banjo feeder, and we'll go through the rig. We're using micro pellets to put on the feeder itself, an 8mm pellet, and then monster bait seafood blitz to add a little bit of extra attraction. We're fishing it about 20 metres out, and yeah, the fishing is good. I've just started fishing it. I've had a couple of fish just before camera turned on, and it's proving to be a good method. And this looks like a nice stamp mirror, around a sort of £4 to £5, which is probably around the average of what they are here. Probably closer to the £4 range, I would have said. And we're using the 10-foot Monster X rod today. So we've got 10-foot Monster X, and we've got an inertia reel and £8 midi M-Tech line. Once we've got this fish in, we'll go closer into the rig and we can have a little look. And these rods are fantastic, through action rods, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. I also use a Tyson rod, which is around the £60 mark. This one's around the sort of the 80 to £90 range, but the Tyson feels just as nice to play fish on as well. And he's in. Good little bit of tip is just click the back wind and let it back wind a couple of times. Sit that butt section underneath your bum, and it allows you to lift that fish in and allow you to sort of control things a little bit better. This one's a bit lively though, so just find out whereabouts he's hooked. Stop him from being a little bit giddy so we can get the hook out. Hook's out there, lovely. Hooked in the corner of the lip. Don't know if he's going to play a ball and let us hold. He's a bit giddy, but that's a nice stamp mirror to start the section. Let's get him in. We'll have a little look through this rig, and then we'll get back out and see if we can catch some more fish. Just move that net out of the way. Get this rod up. Worst thing in fishing when your line gets over the tip of your feeder rod. There we go. So we swing that in. Like I said, we're fishing with a Monster X rod today, the 10-foot, and the inertia reel. It's only a 3000 reel. Don't really need it for casting any further. Now, the rod, the line, like I said before, is midi M-Tech line. And what I'm going to do is just slide the feeder up a little bit just to show you. We've got around sort of 4 inches of twizzled line down to a Preston feeder bead, and that's just really to cushion that you know, it's getting a lot of hammer in the net. It just gives it to cushion. It's got the ICM set up on it if I've got wet and cold hands, but what you can basically see is that we can push that stem and slide the feeder off. If I want to change the size of feeder for baiting or distance of casting or onto a bomb or anything like that, we can swap that around and put it straight back on, and it's back fishing. Now we've got a small 4-inch hook link with ProGen Gen Pro line, and that's 020 to a size 14 KKMB with a band, and that's it really. Nice and simple setup, just done well really. That's the main thing. Just fish simple and just set up your gear in such a way that it works productively. Now what I'm going to do, once I've untangled myself from all this plethora of wires, is I'm just going to turn around and show you how we bait this up. So let's put the back wind on a second. There we go. So with hooking this up, it's like any simple, it's fishery pellets here. So we've got some 8mm. You want in 8mm on venues like this where they're having it, and the bigger fish will be attracted to the 8mm, otherwise you'll end up hooking, you know, the smaller fish, and that's obviously less likely of what you're going to want to do. So again, fishery own micro pellets, and I've just soaked them for 1 minute and then strained it off and let them sit for 15 minutes. We fill the feeder completely up and push that down a little bit before I then put my hook bait in, and top that off and push hard, and then another double skin and push hard again. Now on the Dura Banjo, as you can see, there's so many holes in the back, and that pushes that bait out. So, you know, good squeeze in there, and, you know, pack it in, because it's, you know, it's not that much bait for this time of year. Now we've got the seafood bites from Monster Baits. If you want to go on to, there's a video where I go through it and what it does in the water, that's on the channel if you search for that, and it goes through the 4 new flavours, and they're like a luminous range. They smell obviously seafoody, and what I want to do is I just put a little bit on there, and that's just adds that extra bit of attraction. You don't have to do that, but I find that having that little bit of extra attraction just works for me, and obviously it's certainly working today because I'm catching well on it. So we're only throwing about 20 metres out, and I'm not clipping up, I'm doing it by eye. I'm aiming in the same direction, but I'm not necessarily clipping it up, and there's a couple of reasons for that. It's quite a big expanse of water, and oh, there we go, look, straight away we're in. There's a big expanse of water, and a lot of the time, it's just come off I think, a lot of the time the fish like to bolt away, and yes, you can take it off the cliff to be more accurate, but you know, we're in that same patch of area, and it's giving me a wider area for the fish to come into. There's a lot of fish in here, and if you tend to get everything on top of each other, you can end up with foul lookers, and that's why I'm not too fussed about it being directly on top of itself. So having that little bit of area out there allows it to get fish in the swim, but give you a little bit of a bigger target area, and they usually home quite quickly onto the bait. And again, if you do hook a silly sized fish, you've got no clip to contend with. It's just on and swimming away. Always make sure that you sink the line though, and venues like this, you've really got to make sure that you're watching your rod. Look, there you go. It's literally instant once you've got them feeding, and you've got to make sure you're watching your rod, because if you're not watching, it's going to have it, and you're going to be losing your fish and your rod. Obviously I combat that by using sort of the V-shaped attachment, and I feel that traps the rod enough that, you know, if it pulls it and I'm not watching for some reason, or I've got something in my hand or whatever, that I get time to put it down before it pulls it sort of into the water. Now the stamp's been good. There's a few smaller fish of around a sort of couple of pound. This one looks like one of those, but I have had some fish probably to around a 6 pound mark today. Nothing double figure size as of yet, but this is the perfect size to catch consistently through the day. If you're catching double figures pretty much every cast, yeah, you're gonna have no arm left, and these pull back hard enough anyway, but that's what the edge is going to be like for later on. So again, we've just undone that clip, and that allows us to then bring the fish in, calm it down, find out where it's hooked, and get it unhooked safely. Let's have a look. And they're all sort of energetic and full of beans, as you can see. They've not been fished for a little bit, and you know, they're ready for the feed. And this one certainly works. It's absolutely hammered, that hook. It looks like we're gonna have to get me an unhooking tool to get this one out, because he's had a guzzle on it, that's for sure. But still, you'll be happy catching them all day. Lovely condition fish. let's get him back and see which I'm sure we have got some more fish waiting to play ball. So that one obviously savaged that 8mm pellet, so we need to get about another 8mm back on there. And they're pretty reasonable, £2.50 a bag, and you know, for a pint you're not breaking the bank there. That's pretty much standard price around most fisheries, and to be fair, they sink well, and the micros they actually they soak really well. You sometimes get fisheries where they sort of dissolve pretty quick, and you can only give them 30 seconds in water before they're absolutely knackered. That's not the case with these. So I did about a minute for these, and you know, they've soaked up perfect, absolutely spot on. So you can see, making sure that tip's sunk straight away, and again straight off, probably a liner that time, but the tip were bashing away, but it's quite probable that we got a liner, but we'll get straight back out there. It's fishing these kind of methods, and especially when it's thick and fast, it's all about getting yourself into a routine. I've got everything that I need to hand. I'm not messing about looking for anything or messing about with anything. Everything's to hand. Can quickly pick it up, and I'm following the system. I've casted, I'm sinking the line straight away. Everything's to hand. Rod rest is there, butt rest is there. The rod's ready on the rest. Put a little bit, I only want a slight curve in the rod, and fish on. And the action is crazy, and they just home in on that pellets, and I do believe that monster baits and dips helps out with just creating that haze under the water with the smell of it. And this fish is going straight to me actually. What I've found is that you're catching a little bit smaller stamp when you're fishing with a micro pellet. It's not always the case on every venue, but certainly this one's a very small one, and it's got a bit of stuff attached to it as well. A bit of old line, poor fish. Little F1, and it's got somebody else's hook attached to it as well as mine, so we'll get that little one straight back in the water and we'll have another cast. But we found quite a few bits attached to stuff today, so do, if you hook, if you manage to you know, catch a fish with stuff that's hooked in it, make sure that you unhook it from it. I'm not quite sure how it's got it. There we go. And throw that at the back, but make sure you do unhook it. I'm just gonna double check in my rig to make sure I've got no kinks or anything in it. We've been up to somebody else's stuff, and again just repeat that process. Put that sort of 8mm band on, get those micro pellets, scoop first, then your bait, then a press, and then another double skin. And you can use the molds that come with them. That's not a problem if that's how you feel comfy. I personally used to use them, and I stopped using them sort of a couple of years ago, and I just do them by hand. I just feel comfortable doing it by hand, and it's you know, it's fast for me. I think that the most advantage that they are, the sort of molds, is when you're casting over a big distance, and I think that you can really pack that in and get a good shape aerodynamically. But I mean, I don't seem to have any problems doing it by hand and forming it, and I'm sure there's quite a lot of people that form them by hand as well. We're into another one. Nice bite. It's This one seems a little bit bigger than obviously the stamp of the other two littler ones. And sometimes we only had to wait sort of 2 minutes for that one, maybe 3 minutes. It's coming towards me, and maybe that's because initially the smaller fish were there and the bigger fish have spooked them out a little bit again. And this is certainly not a ginormous fish by no standards, probably around a 3 to 4 pound mark, but it when a few of them come in, it's enough to sort of spook the other ones away. But you know, we'd rather have the bit bigger stamp ones on as a consistent. Yeah, it's around that sort of 3 to 4 pound range, closer to 3 I would have said. They're all super lively today, which does make looking a bit more of a ball like, but that one's thrown it out, so that's good for me. Gonna get this one held up if we can. It's giddy, same age jumping water, but another beautiful stamp, good looking fish. So obviously method fishing is massive all over the country, and you know, hopefully I've given you my setup and an easy way of doing it that's consistent, and what you're getting out of it is not just the fact of the balanced gear and the way that you fish it, it's looking at different things, like not always going to a feature looking for some flatbed in you know, open water, and on top of that looking at how we set it up, that we, you know, everything's to hand, and you know, we're getting in that system, and fishing is all about being in the system. And certainly if you're in any sort of venue where there's a lot of fish and you're catching, you do need to be in a system if you're in a match to compete, but also to have the best out of your session and the best out of your peg. So hopefully this has given you that information, and you know, showing you a little bit about it. So again, thank you for the continued support on the group. We're near that 6,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is amazing. Keep joining us on the live feeds at 7 o'clock on the Facebook. Great interaction on there. Lots of people sharing their stories and asking questions, and then jumping over to 8 o'clock on Fridays to the live stream on the Instagram at angling_for_you. Again, share those photos, tag us into stuff, you know, it's really nice to see. And if you could hit that bell icon, it'll tell you when the next videos are coming up. We're probably going to one every sort of Saturday or Sunday, slowing them down from obviously the lockdown. And just like, share, subscribe, and share it with your friends if that's possible for us. It helps us out, and it allows us to spread the expanse to more people, which is what we're all about. So thanks a lot for watching. Catch us on the next one, guys. Tight lines.